Welcome to the Goddess Conference Conversations. In this space, we will connect with interesting personalities, presenters and artists from our international community and chat about the upcoming conference's topics and themes.
Hi everyone, today I've got the wonderful Marion with us. Marion, please could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Marion Brigantia. I am a priestess of Brigantia here in Avalon, and I am one of the co-organizers of the Goddess Conference, our beautiful Goddess Conference.
Marion, what is healing to you?
Wow, that's a big question to come into. What is healing to me? I think healing can have a lot of different ways of being, really. Personally, if I work with healing as a priestess, I work with healing on a holistic spectrum. So there's nothing really that is out of the healing process. The spiritual healing that we work with here, especially here in trainings in Glastonbury, is a healing journey, which I would say is a journey towards wholeness. And I like how these words are all kind of related. You have wholeness, healing, holistic, all these things are together. So for me, healing is a journey. It's not something that you do like that. It's something that is a process. Sometimes it can go really quick. Sometimes there's a moment that's really a healing moment that's solves or gives insight in what is happening in your life. But most of the time it's a process, I would say.
Do you consider yourself a healer?
I've been asked that question very often. Funny enough, I don't feel myself as a healer as such, but I think I do a lot of things that bring healing to people, and especially the trainings. So the �ฤģitt Brigantia trainings that I give, the feedback that I get from people is that there's a lot of healing happening in people's life. So I would say I facilitate healing. And then I am trained in Reiki, in universal energy, in magnified healing. So I have all these healing modalities that I can, bring to people. But I feel myself more as a holistic priestess and not specifically as a healer.
How is your spiritual path connected to healing?
I feel my path with Goddess is a healing path. It is a healing path that I bring, or she brings really through me, into people's lives. I think working with Goddess brings healing, and not always in an easy way, in a way that that is just like, oh, you connect with Goddess and you are healed. It's not like the miracle healings. It's more like she offers so much space for healing to take place, and to know her, to really know her in your body, in your heart, in your mind. That brings healing, that brings clarity, that brings love, all those beauty, all those qualities that for me are part of the healing journey.
Do you have a connection to a specific goddess of healing?
Yes, yes, of course, yeah. 𝗚𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗡, who is the goddess I work with most, she is a goddess of healing. She is well known in the Celtic world and in the modern world as the goddess of healing. That is one of her great names. So yeah, 𝗚𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗡 is the one that inspires me, that ignites me, that invites me to look at the places that are difficult to look at, and the places that if you go through them, they bring healing. So she is very often seen as a quite light goddess. That doesn't mean that you don't look at the difficult places. I always say that 𝗚𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗡 sheds her light in the places of shadow, where then they become visible. So it's not like, oh, it's all fluffy and nice. It's really actually quite a lot of hard work to walk with 𝗚𝗟𝗧𝗧𝗏 in the healing path.
Why is the archetypal maiden aspect of goddess associated with healing for you?
Yes, the maiden year here at the Goddess Conference that we are working with is the maiden year, and we have chosen to go into the Goddess of Healing. And for me personally, it is because the healing journey starts often in that childhood. The wounding starts in the childhood, so it's you have to go back to those places where you still had that innocence, where you had that pureness, and then look at the places where that innocence and pureness can be kind of retrieved, remembered, reclaimed, and that can bring healing, and that works through in your whole adult life. So a lot of the work we're doing is going back to the places where the wounding started, and often that is in the childhood places, or school, teenage, upbringing, and there is the foundation of the wounding, but also the foundation, if you go back, of the healing. So the maiden archetype in the wheel of the year, it holds that inner child. So it holds the maiden. It's not just, it's for all genders and all sexualities. We call her the maiden archetype, but she is also the youth and anything that comes from childhood. So that is where the healing originates, really, for me.
Is there a specific healing journey in which the goddess of your spiritual path played a role, and would you be comfortable enough to share this story with us?
It's interesting, when I started my priestess training, I often thought, well, there's nothing really, I mean, there are always things in your life. There's always things that bring some kind of wounding, but there was no big life wounding in my life. And I was like, oh, am I the only one who has that? And then after that, really, the journey started. This journey where I kind of reclaimed myself, my sovereign self, my authentic self, and started to say no to things. Well, this sadly resulted in the breakup of my marriage with my ex-husband, who I'm still very eminent with, and we are good friends. But it brought for both of us, like, okay, this is not our authentic relationship anymore. And it was really Bridget who helped me through that journey. And also Bridget who then called me here to Avalon, to Glastonbury. And I was like, oh yes, I really want that. I felt it in my soul, and I felt her calling. At that point, I wrote a poem as well, and I just couldn't read. I still can't read that poem out loud for myself, because it's so deeply connected to my soul, her calling me to these lands. And when I was here, yes, of course, you're here and you have all these wonderful ideas, like, oh, you're at Avalon and everything's gonna be fine, and she's called me. But it wasn't like that. It was still, of course, a whole process, as I said in the beginning, I had to go through in myself, in my relationships, in the finding of new ways of being. And I remember one specific moment where I felt Bridget helping me. And this was when I had to move out of one accommodation, and I couldn't find anywhere to stay. And it was then that there was the tiniest of little adverts in the paper. And I called this person who said, house for rent. And I called this person and I asked, oh, okay, where is the place? And she said, oh, it's in St. Bride's Close. And I was like, whoo, okay. I still get goosebumps. For me, that was really like, okay, she's helping me. She's called me here, and she's not left me. She is still helping me to find a place where I can be safe. That was a specific moment that I mean, do you need proof? No, I don't need proof, but it was still nice to realize that, and to feel that she was actually holding me in that process.
Do you perceive a stark contrast between soul healing and spiritual healing, or are they ultimately bound together? What's your take on this?
I think there's no stark contrast. I mean, there's definitely different ways of healing. But I think that I believe in a holistic healing where, you know, you have the spiritual, you have the physical, the mental, the emotional, all of that is together. And I have, when I was making a specific Bridget healing module for my training, actually that really came to the forefront. It was like, it has to be all those parts. It has to be the physical, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional. Everything needs to be part of the healing process.
Have you experienced the healing energy of Avalon? And if so, how would you describe this?
Yes, I think the healing energy of Avalon is really in the land. It's every time when I come across a crisis in myself, or I've actually, it doesn't even have to be a crisis. Sometimes you just feel there, you know, and you just don't see the next step. You don't feel inspired. And for me, when I go out on the land, and it doesn't really matter where exactly. I mean, I have my favorite places to go, but when I go on the land, I connect with the trees. I connect with all the elements, with you know, with the wind on the top of the door, with the waters of the brew. All these elements of the walking in the sunshine. It's, for me, that is the healing. The healing comes from me of the land of Avalon. And I feel it more specific here. I mean, all the land everywhere can be healing. And in the 2020 conference, we talked about heartland. So I have other places where this is as well. Like Iona is for me also really a healing place to go. But here in Avalon definitely is a place for healing for me on the land.
Has your time in Avalon inspired or adjusted your healing journey in any way?
Well, yeah. So when I came here to Avalon, I mean, I wanted to be here to be a priestess, really, and a full-time priestess, which in that time in the Netherlands was not really feasible yet. It is now. I mean, things have changed in the 15 years I've been here. But so yeah, for me, I wanted to be a priestess. And I think my Avalon here has made that possible, and made possible mostly because people are drawn to come here to feel the land. And the more I've been here, the more I also can share that with people, the more I can share the healing journey that I've experienced with people. I can take to the places that specifically have healing qualities, like the White Spring and the Chalice Well. So I think, yes, of course, it has influenced and inspired my healing journey. And it also has inspired me to create healing journeys for other people.
Do you feel healing as a necessary process that we face after we've experienced wounding or trauma? Or do you think healing is more of an ongoing practice to nurture in your life as you face the world in a more connected way?
Again, I don't think the two exclude each other. I think there are definitely I think there's a healing journey as a constant practice, which really for me is about awareness and consciousness. To be aware of what is happening, what you're feeling, not trying to suppress it. And the more you open yourself up, the more you open your heart up to be real with what is, the more you will come across as well. If there is wounding in your life, that will come up. So I think the two actually support each other. So there is a ongoing journey towards consciousness, awareness, which for me is a healing journey, and which is for me is also highly supported and held by Bridget. But in that journey, there are moments that you probably have to pause and think, okay, this is something else, and we're going deeper in. And maybe you need help. Maybe you need help from a therapist. Maybe you need help from a healer. I've had moments that I went to a shamanic healer. I did past life. I did hypnotherapy. There's loads of things where you come across like, okay, I can't do this on my own. And I think I always say, the first rule of self-love is be able to ask for help. So I think in the healing journey, you don't have to do it all on your own. You can also ask for help.
Which wounds do you feel are the hardest to heal from in your experience? And how did you support such healing in your life?
Which wounds? I think any wounds to do with trust are very hard to heal. To regain trust, I think that is a really deep process where you go into, you really have to go deep in yourself, and to really be honest and to find out why this trust is wounded, and where there is the trust in yourself, in the situation, and how you can hold yourself. Yeah, I think that's the trust wound for myself is definitely be the one that is hardest to heal. And how do you go about it? I think just not giving up, just really, and you know, trying to stay open. Years ago, I went to Embodiment in the Goddess Conference, and I know it was Rose Flint. She was embodying Rhiannon, and I went to her, and I was actually in the time of the separation and the breakup, and she said, the goddess, she said, never close your heart. And I think that was the one that was very hard to hear, because I really wanted to close my heart because I was hurting so much. And I just didn't trust anybody anymore. So for me, I really, every time that comes back as an echo in my heart, in my head, it's like, never close your heart, always keep your heart open. And I think that is in the long run, that is going to heal the trust.
I think that's a really important message for the whole world right now.
Definitely, yeah.
What does the collective need to heal from the most at the moment?
Maybe it is trust. Maybe trust, yeah, the collective wound at the moment. I actually think it is trust. I think especially in the COVID years, there have been so much fear. I mean, fear and trust, for me, those are really, you know, quite opposite to each other. So yeah, I think to heal the fear of living, the fear of surrendering into joy again, to have the almost like the ease and the peace of life, which has definitely been damaged over the last 4 years, I would say. And I think collectively we are slowly getting out of that, to regain the trust in life, to regain that we can plan our lives, to regain that, you know, we can open our hearts. But I think, yeah, to really be aware that a lot of decisions are still made from fear. And just the awareness alone can already bring healing in that place, and looking at that place of fear.
If you could send a healing blessing to all of the community of the Goddess Conference who are celebrating the Goddess of Healing this year, what would your healing blessing be?
Let me feel into that. I would like to send everybody the blessing of courage. The courage to walk your healing path, to face your fears, to face your shadows, because it needs courage. And I hold the fire element of Bridget this year in the Goddess Conference. And I think the fire is such an empowerment in yourself, to feel that fire, to know the courage that you have, to know that you have the strength to go on. And I wish all you the blessing of courage and the fire of Bridget.
That was wonderful, Marion. On behalf of everyone that watches and listens, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time with us. And we can't wait to see you at the conference.
I can't wait either. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
This interview and chat was conducted by Ria Varma for the Glastonbury Goddess Conference. Please check out our website to discover more about our community and our annual gathering in Glastonbury, Avalon. Join us this year for the 29th Glastonbury Goddess Conference, a joyful gathering of goddess-loving people, a 6 days in-person event in Glastonbury, Avalon, running from Tuesday 30th July to Sunday 4th August 2024, with the fringe events starting from Sunday 28th July. This year the theme is the Goddess of Healing. It's our Maiden year, the first year of a new 5-year cycle. International presenters, transformative workshops and experiences, deep ceremonies on the sacred land of Avalon, community, art, fun, and love for Goddess. Let your healing journey begin this year. Join us for the Glastonbury Goddess Conference, Goddess of Healing. There are so many options to participate: full conference tickets, weekend tickets, day tickets. Find what suits you best and get your ticket now at goddessconference.com.